Good morning everybody, just doing me morning workout. Thanks for all watching, and I'd love it if you would subscribe to our channel. I do apologise for where I'm doing this video from at the moment. I will get organised. Like I said, we're bringing everything home like a mini workshop. Oh, little Stanley's come to say hello. He's looking round there, seeing what's going on. He can't work it out. You know, he gets us at home now, so it's good for him and it's good for us. Love my little dog. Right, so first thing we're going to do is measure out this 6x1 timber board. This is a bit of board that I had left over from previous projects that I had done. So I thought I'd use it up, and my missus has been banging on about this item to make in the house for a while. So I thought I'd show an easy project, it's easy for beginners. Just take your time doing it. Anything to do with anything like a saw with teeth, take your time. The blade stops, if you notice. Just stop that, just prevent kickback. Even though it wouldn't have kicked back on this one board, it doesn't matter. Always safety first, everything else comes second. I'll always say that. So I'm just cutting these boards down to the size I want. Now, I've not got a lot of board here, so I've got to try and measure out and get this right. In my head, it works. In theory, I'm not too sure, so we'll see how we go on. So it's time to use the table saw. Now this table saw, I'm due for replacing it. I don't like it. It was a table saw I've had for a bit. It's just not good. It's just not good. If you can get a table saw and you can save up for one that's a bit better quality, please do so. Don't go and buy these cheap table saws like I've done here, because number one, it's a total waste of money. I'm going to have to replace it, and in my eyes it's borderline dangerous. I'm having to check, double check again, make sure I'm getting these cuts right, keeping my fingers away. Sometimes it wants to cut, sometimes it doesn't want to cut, and it's not me, it's the actual table saw. But sometimes it works fine, but it's just not a good thing. If you're going to get a table saw, my recommendation is get a good one. And if you've got any comments and suggestions on what I should be getting, please drop them in the comment section below. I'm more than happy to listen to them. So here's my cut, everything's cut. I have managed to get enough wood out of this board that I had, believe it or not. This board was just over 2 meters long, 6x1, and I've just got enough, little bit of spare over, which I'll use for plugs. Right, so here I'm just marking the bottom side of this. It's sort of like more work on the bottom than what there is on the top, really. So you don't have to be super accurate with this, but it just depends on the item you're putting it on and the design of the item you're putting it on. So I'm just striking a couple of lines here. They're just merely to get these cross members back in the right place. The glue I'm using here is Titebond 2 in my glue bot. I always use Titebond 2. It's a really good glue. No messing about. As the bearded Viking would say, abba dabba glue. Just make sure this is lined up. This is the critical bit, making sure this is square, lined up. They've got to be parallel to one another. Like I say, if you're a beginner, this is super easy, and it's a nice decorative piece for your house. Right, so here I'm going in with a pilot drill. Now I'm going to come back to this. This side, I drilled with this pilot hole that I'm drilling here. It was actually the wrong size drill for the screws, so this is a mistake I'm actually making here, and it comes back to warn me later on in the video. But I rectify it. Everybody can make mistakes. So I'm just countersinking here. I'm going to go down deep enough for some plugs I want to put in. You can get them fancy bits that do it all in one. I'm waiting for some to come. but you just use what you've got. You don't need no fancy tools or anything like this. Even like I said, I was using the table saw. You didn't really need that. You could use a saw. You just use what you've got. I'm sure the more creative minded you are, you can get around these problems, and it's good to learn. So anyway, I'm going in with the screws now. And what I'm noticing here is where I'm finding out I've made a mistake on this side. The screws are not actually they're biting, but not biting enough. You'll get a feel for that as you go on with your woodwork journey. And I'm thinking, because I've glued it and I've just got a bit of bite, I'll get away with it. But it plays on my mind the further onto this build. So I have to go back and do it. It probably would have been okay, but I just can't leave it like that. And if you're ever making something and making it to sell, make sure you do it right. Go back and rectify your mistakes. This is for the house. This is why I thought I could get away with it. But still, it played on my mind. One of my other favourite tools is these little palm routers. I love them. This one is an Aruba, but you don't need one. You can sand the corners over. You can, get a file or a rasp or a bit of sandpaper on a block and just knock them corners back. You don't even have to do that. Just sand it. It's fine. It's like a hot knife through butter. I absolutely love it. There's something a bit therapeutic about doing this. Sometimes, like here now, I just have to go over this bit because I was coming onto the side of a knot there. So you just need a couple of passes over that knot to knock it back. And I'll come to the other side now, do the same on the other side. And what I do off camera here is I flip it over and I do what is going to be the top of this all around the edges. And a little bit down in the middle of the board, at the top and the bottom of the board as you're looking at it, I'll just put a decorative knock over there as well. So it's time for a bit of plugs here. Still thinking I'm getting away with my mistake. Thought, yeah, get the plugs in, the glue will set, happy days. But even here, it's playing on my mind. Quick tip for plugs is if you just run the plug edges in the glue like I'm doing there, it stops glue getting everywhere and all over your hands and you're peeling it off all afternoon, which is really nice thing to do in my opinion. But I don't know what it does. It just helps them stick a lot better rather than getting glue. You don't need a lot of glue for these. And once this tight bond goes off, there's no getting it apart. The hammer I'm using, if you're interested, is an English company called Thor Hammers. Brilliant bit of kit, and they're not too expensive. But again, you could just use any old hammer to do this. I've used bits of wood to bang these in the past when I've not had money for hammers and stuff like that. So here we go here. This is Japanese little saw, invaluable bit of kit. I'm going to do a video about these saws. I absolutely love them. I mean, this one's gummed up with glue and all sorts, and it just still cuts through perfectly. It's super quick. My finger there, just steadies the blade. Don't worry, I'm not going to cut my finger off. I'm used to it, but that just helps. As you do use these saws, you'll get what I mean. Right, another good tool is this Max T 150mm orbital sander. It's a brilliant bit of kit. You could use a block with a bit of sandpaper on, but I've got this tool, so I'll use it. Because I do bigger projects, obviously, so I need something for that. But because I've got it, I use it. But a cheap sander will do. There's no, you don't have to use an expensive sander. And my little doggy again, look at him, wondering what's going on. This sander cost, I think it was 225 quid to get it off Amazon. It's sort of like a poor man's Festool, if that makes sense, but it's a good sander, trust me. It takes a lot of the hard work and monotony out of sanding. Does it with a breeze. So what tools are you currently saving up for? Now let me know in the comments what tools you woodworkers out there, beginner woodworkers, are actually saving up for, or you just bought. So here's my mistake. I've had to go back in, re-screw and re-plug more screws and plugs in here, if that makes sense to you. And now I know everything's perfect. It's not going to play on my mind, so it's done. It's on the underside, it's for my house. I wouldn't sell this. Right, here's Shelley now with the Polyvine wood dye. And this is, I think it's dark oak is the colour. Yep, dark oak. Wood dye, Polyvine. It's a water-based dye. Look at that. Just look how good that stuff is. It just brings that grain right up. And like I said in one of my previous videos, there's nothing worse than pine when it starts to go yellow. And this just adds that sort of farmhouse, rustic, chic look to your bits. I mean, they do a range of these, does this company. They're well worth a lot. You can find them, polyvine.co.uk, I think it is. But you can go on their website, just look up Polyvine. It's inexpensive and it's a really good product. So I would like to recommend that one to you. Now we're using the multi-surface lacquer, which is another Polyvine product, which helps protect it. It helps protect against moisture, atmospheric changes in the weather, all that kind of stuff, and just adds a really good protection coat. And again, it's enhancing that colour. Shelley's applying this with a bristle brush, a round one. She likes using these. She finds them dead easy to use. Just apply this sparingly, put 2 coats on. It dries dead, depending on the temperature, dries dead quick. Here he is, looking for his treat now. It's treat time for him. You're not finding one down there, mate. He's 10-year-old now, he's getting old, so we need to be at home with him, really. And here it is, finished. So it's a stove cover. It's made to fit onto our stove, which we're going to be renewing at some point, so all stoves are different, so if you're making these to measure, make sure you get the measurements right. The handles I've added, I bought them from Banggood, which were, less than £2, $3 maybe. But there we go. Let me know what you think in the comments. A super easy project. And please subscribe. Thanks for watching. And I'll do more videos for you. Bye.